Have you ever felt like you don't fit in? Like the answers you've been searching for just don't exist in the traditional world of health and wellness? Well, today I am so happy to introduce Shirley Klaus, founder of Complete Health at Simply Natural. Shirley's been in the natural health field for over 28 years, and today we're going to talk about how Shirley navigated as a single mom, battling physical illness, emotional exhaustion, spiritual disconnection, and how she found herself bedridden and overwhelmed with neurodivergent loved ones. And doctors couldn't explain what was happening to her. So, Shirley, thank you so much for joining me here today. And I just can't wait to hear your story about how you overcame all of this.
Thank you, Lori. Appreciate your time and talking to your audience. Um, and mine. How I overcame this, it's been a lifelong process, Lori. I was thinking this morning, it's like having the rug pulled under from underneath you, like time and time again, and then deciding if I want to stay lay on the floor or bed or get up and make a change my story.
Hmm. Great. And Shirley, when did you start? Were you a small child when your health problems began? When did this really begin for you?
Oh, I was very young, Lori. I've had multiple different health issues over the years. Uh, my mom tells me that she was driving the car and I was continuing to vomit, and she was holding me with one hand and driving me the other hand to get me to the doctor to try to find out what was going on. And then in grade, I was diagnosed with hypoglycemia, low blood, and having to have snacks all the time, and that helped had difficulty because my sugar level was yo-yo so much with focus. But then later on, as an adult, I found out that I had ADHD, and that was part of my difficulty with focusing. And then into when I was a single mom, I started having tremors and symptoms that we couldn't find answers for, even after trying the traditional healthcare mode. And so finally, and I was in bed, and my parents were having to take care of my kid, my oldest child. God bless them; they were there for me, and I was living with them. Um, and finally, one day after being bedridden, a family friend came to give us this 1-800 number, and it was an herbalist. I didn't even. It took me 2 weeks to make that phone call because what's an herbalist? That was close to voodoo to me because I had no idea what it was. But that was the first time somebody said, I've had some similar experiences. I understand what you're going through, and I can help you find the answers, and I can help you. I sat there with, that was when we still had the cord. I sat on the stairs of a bi-level where my son was downstairs and my mom was upstairs, and tears were just down my cheeks because somebody was telling me that we could probably find a way to get out of bed. And within 2 weeks of herbal combinations, I was back to driving.
Oh, that's wonderful to hear. And Shirley, do you remember what kind of herbs that the first herbal combination, what was in it? Do you remember that? What she gave you? Just for the audience to know,
I, right. I had one that had natural ends in it, another one that supported combinations that supported the nervous system. We did some food enzymes, and There might have been one other. I don't remember the other one. Oh, to support the glandular system as well.
Mm. That makes sense because you'd had hypoglycemia, to work on your digestive system, and that's great.
Yeah.
And
And they,
and sure, go ahead.
and the other part of my journey later on, when my child was 7 years old, uh, I did get married, and I was still having health. I had some newer health issues where I was having tremoring, and those were those. I was still having those symptoms when I was in bed, as a single mom, and uh, I made some improvements, but I had flare-ups, and there was time where there was like 3 years I was mostly in bed. I would get up, and by that time we had a daughter, and I would get the kids out of bed and to school, and I would go back to bed and take a 2 or 3 naps a day just to get through the day. And
Mm.
I continued on to use things to help, build my immune system and um, get out of bed. And even during and in between that flare up and before that, we had a separation for a short period of time, and just being able to use essential oils and herbs to keep me going. And sometimes, yeah, I just have to go back to the drawing board. And recently, I've had to do that too because I've had something that causes more food allergies. My kid had food sensitivities, um, gluten intolerance, all kinds of things. And you have to learn how to adapt, and decide I'm going to get up. Whether it's not in body, if you're not able to really get up, it's in mind. Yes, I'm going to get up. I'm going to stop, think, breathe, and one of my most important is pray. My faith is for me, is in my coping techniques.
Yes, and that is something that I love to do is breathing. So, Shirley, what is your, I know you do breathing with people and it's helped you so much, like you were saying, just do some breathing. What do you do with the breathing? What kind of breathing do you do? And do you use any essential oils with your breathing? Because you mentioned you use essential oils. And, can we do that together?
Well, uh, another situation that breathing and using essential oils, and flower essences and hydrosol was when my dad passed away a little over 6 years ago. That was like a rug of the whole house pulled out from underneath me. And one of our friends gave me hydrosol. You had talked about it, but I hadn't really used it yet. And that, and sometimes smelling essential oils and the flower essences. I could not swallow anything. The grief was in my throat and in my chest. And so that's the way I made it through. One of my favorite ways is just to take it and smell it. And this is lemongrass. I think
Mm.
when I was going through it with my dad, it was lavender, but this has been my favorite now. I use it in my laundry, in my cleaning. Sometimes I just sit at my washer, turn on my washer, and have that aromatherapy coming out of the washer.
Yeah, why
So,
not? Well, I love lemongrass. I
so
I totally get it. I'll grab mine here. So I just grab mine
yes.
here and Oh, yeah, it's so fresh lemongrass, isn't it? Just wakes you right up and so
And
relaxing
grass
at
is,
the same time.
yeah, mhm, and lemongrass is tall, so you kind of feel like you can sit up a little taller, stand up a little taller, feel a little clearer in your thinking. Um, and it's just a real simple thing of smelling something.
Nice. So do you want, to take me through your breathing exercise with the lemongrass and
Sure.
your visualization that you do with people so they can see how you work?
Yes. So you have to start with the knowledge of. I mean, when you think about it, teach me how to breathe. I breathe every day, right? But the mindful, simple breathing takes a little thought. So you start with, then I'm going to talk about my favorite, how to breathe with visualization. So it's always grounding to put your feet on the ground when you're breathing, and you want to make sure you're not breathing from your chest, you're breathing through your stomach. And my favorite way is just to fill up my chest. So you're going to breathe through your nose and out through your mouth. Smell a rose, blow out a candle. And then if you do that and take a deeper breath, I call it a cleansing breath. You can just feel the circulation move through your body, and I feel it up in my head, and just reaches more of your body, and your everything starts to flow more. Your blood, have that more oxygen, this clarity. I have a client that said, I had so much to do. I was ready to cancel the appointment. And the first 2 minutes, I had more clarity, more energy, calm, and it actually helped me go through my appointments because she's a businesswoman. Helped me to go through my appointments the rest of the day.
Awesome.
I had to like that. And are you ready how to do visualization with breathing?
Sure, I'm ready to learn.
Great. So, Lori, I know favorite places to be is either at the beach. I know when you visit family, you have those, right? So you get pick your favorite place to be out. So let's show everybody how to do that. So what would be your favorite pick today?
My favorite place today would be in the forest, in the mountains.
Forest and mountains together. Ooh, that gives me chills. You got best of two worlds, forest and mountains. Okay, so are you on the top of the mountain or more
Yeah,
somewhere in between?
I'm on the top of the mountain. You know, it's not high mountains,
But
so there's still trees.
okay, but there's still forest around. Okay,
Yes,
gotcha. Is there
yes.
rocks, or are you gonna have like pine needles? Okay, rocks. So pretend you're touching the rocks, and how does that feel?
Oh, it feels good. I can feel them with my
Let
feet.
me
You
know
know,
when you got that
down
part.
yeah, I'm looking down at my feet because I'm standing up and I can see pine needles and I can see ferns all around too, underneath the trees and other vegetation.
Great. Yeah, the pine is good for the adrenals and uplifting and clarity too. So that's great. So then you identify what you're smelling as well around you, the fresh air, the pines, the ferns.
Mhm.
Okay. So what are you hearing around you?
I'll say that again, I'm sorry.
That's okay. What do you hear? Visualization. What would you
Oh,
hear
I
around
hear
you if you were
birds.
in that
I hear
spot?
birds. I hear birds, like blue jays.
What do you feel? Do you feel wind? Great. And what do you? What would you feel if you were in that environment against your skin? Would it be wind?
Oh, there's just a very slight breeze.
Okay. And do you feel the heat of the sun? Is it, or is it a cold day?
It's warm, so I can smell the sun hitting the dry pine needles on the ground, with the dirt.
Okay. So you're bringing all your senses together. That's great. So keep that visualization together. Make sure your feet are on the ground as if they're on that. And then remember that we're going to breathe in through our nose and smell the around everything. Um, the lemongrass can be kind of uh, example of that freshness of the air in nature. Okay, so we're going to start. Let me bring up my timer here. We're going to do a minute of mindful breathing with visualization. So we'll see how we put those two together. And I'm going to let's do a minute and 10 so that we can have a few seconds just to get started. Okay, so we're going to breathe in through the nose and out through the mouth, and using our stomach to fill that up. You're going to think about what those smells would be as you're breathing in. What you're seeing in your mind around you, with the blue jays and the sun. What it might, the breeze coming by. Wiggle your toes on the rocks, or our participants if they're in sand or grass. That's 1 minute. So now we're going to take a deep cleansing breath. So audience, how do you feel? Lori, how do you feel?
Oh, I feel very refreshed and
Put it in the comments.
yeah, I put it. I feel really refreshed. Is what I feel. You know.
Awesome.
Yeah, I feel
So
great. Very
stop,
soothed and relaxed and
think.
up.
So when you stop, think, breathe. then you can, mine is, for me personally, is adding prayer. But then it gives you that clarity to decide what comes next. Do I need to, reach out to somebody for extra help, like a counselor, or do I need to schedule a cranial sacral or chiropractor or massage session? Do I need to contact Lori to help me know what step to take, or our friend Diane? Um, it helps you decide what is the next step and how can I, taking a rock, and it's like you walked on that path and you found a rock, Lori, and then it kind of in the ground, and you're like, that's really a dirty rock, but you pick it up anyway, and on the other side there's a whole bunch of gems there. So you never know what your story is going to be changed by just that dirty rock. You need to turn it over and see where it is, and then if you really to use those gems, help, right, somebody to make those gems worth something.
Yes, it's
So that's how
great.
you change your story.
Beautiful, Shirley.
Yeah,
I'm
I've
so
had
excited.
yeah, I've had many different situations in my life that I had to decide to pick up that rock. Um, that is such my passion. There were many moments that I alone, that I didn't have the answers, and that my prayers weren't going to be answered. But when I reached out, I found the help that I needed, and I continue to decide to move forward. And sometimes, like we talked, the decision is, well, I may not be able to get out of bed, or I may only be able to just take a few steps today, and that's okay. Everybody complete health journey is different. It's unique. You don't have to feel alone. You don't have. Uh, and on this earth, it might not be a complete healing, as others may think of it. You might not be. You still may have some trip ups, like still have food sensitivities. You may still have learning issues. You may still have health flare ups. I do. But you find your wellness toolbox that works for you. And sometimes that changes too.
Yes, it's
Spray
great.
a little bit of something around you, it
Spray your
brings you back
hydrosols.
in the present. Even in, yes, yes. I have lavender and waters next to me. Um, find the joy in your sorrow in the midst of your difficult situations, and you'll see your story change.
Great. Yes, I'm Shirley. So I want to thank you so much for being on with me today. I really appreciate it. And I know that you'll give me your details if you want to give me your details of how people can get a hold of you. And then I'll also put it in our information in this YouTube video. So that way, then they can get a hold of you and they can have a session with you.
That would be wonderful. I'd love to help people start that journey, because I'm very big on starting with emotional and spiritual healing, so that the body can have less stress with it, and then you can dig deeper into that physical healing. But it's so simple just to start with a breathing, because you can be
Yes.
anywhere and and nobody knows that that's what you're doing as your coping technique, because you So I'd love to talk to you and walk you. Um, Klaus.com. I'm mostly on Facebook, and that is facebook.com/, and then my last name Klaus, Klaus, wellness.
Super.
There
Well, I'll
is
put the
much, but
information below too,
CH Simply Natural.
CH Simply Natural. Okay, great. Well, thank you so much, Shirley. It was great doing the breathing with you and experiencing lemongrass essential oil, one of my favorites. I mean, wow, that's so beautiful and refreshing. And like you said, just makes you stand straight up, just like the grass. No, it's really
I'm seeing
nice.
a whole field of lemongrass.
Exactly, exactly. Well, thank you very much, Shirley. And everyone, you guys can get a hold of Shirley so that way you can have a great session with Shirley too, and you can feel better. So, Shirley, thank you.
Oh, and Lori, they found me through talking with you. I'm going to give them a 10% discount.
Oh, great. Okay, so everyone, if you watch this video here and you want to have a session with Shirley, she's going to give you 10% off. That's awesome. Thank you so much, Shirley.
Thank you so much. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Don't forget your
I'll talk to you
essentials.
guys later.
Use your common sense. Bye.
And change your story.